The restaurant glass shimmered like a calm lake, reflecting chandeliers and the sunset sliding off the city. Plates whispered against linen. Knives chimed. The air smelled of rosemary and melted butter. Emma moved fast, but quiet, heels soft on marble, a tray balanced like a moon in her hands. 2 scallops, 1 rare steak. Sophia, the manager, murmured as she passed. Smile, but not too much. Table 13 is complicated. Complicated sat in a velvet corner. Robert Halden, the billionaire in an ash-gray suit, flanked by John, a bodyguard with a glacier stare, and Michael, a CFO with careful eyes behind thin frames. A woman in silk, Evelyn, scrolled her phone, nails tapping like raindrops. Emma breathed in. She walked. "Good evening, Mr. Halden," she said, setting the bread basket down. "Welcome to the glass house." Robert didn't look at her. He glanced at the skyline as if he owned the sky. "Let's make this interesting." His voice was smooth and cold, like a coin. He turned to John. "What was that phrase from the last summit?" John leaned and murmured a sentence in French. Robert's smile sharpened. He faced Emma. "Translate." Emma's eyes flicked to Sophia, then back. "Would you like sparkling or still?" "Translate this if you can," Robert repeated, slow, savoring each word. He nodded at John. John obliged. "On put acteur and monter, mais pas le temps." A soft hush. Distant forks paused. Emma felt the quiet touch her shoulders. She met Robert's eyes. "You can buy a watch," she said. "But not time." Robert's eyebrows barely moved. A ripple in a still pond. Beginner's luck. He changed lanes without signaling. "Michael." Michael cleared his throat. "Try Mandarin." His voice lowered. Emma listened. The syllables hummed in her chest like a familiar hum under a train. "Time isn't money," she translated. "It's life." Evelyn looked up from her phone. The room leaned in a little. Robert's smile thinned. "So you're a parrot. Cute." He leaned forward, perfume and power mixing in the air. "Let's climb." He slid a napkin across the table. Jagged characters scratched in ink. A dead language to most. The chandelier buzzed. The city lights blinked. "Old Persian," Robert said lightly. "Translate this if you can." Emma's breath caught. The letters were crooked but alive, like footprints in sand. Wind seemed to whisper along the windows. The tray in her hand suddenly felt like a crown and a blade. Sophia's voice brushed her ear. Barely a whisper. "You don't have to." Emma stared at the ink. Her fingers trembled. She set the tray down. "Shall I?" Robert's voice held that small hook of mockery. Emma lifted her eyes and very softly spoke. But before the words formed, a burst of laughter from a nearby table broke, then died. A silent moment. The room waits. She opened her mouth. The translation on that napkin wasn't a proverb at all. It was a warning. Emma steadied herself, palms flat on linen. She traced the ink with her gaze. The strokes lined up like soldiers, but the spacing was wrong. "It says," Emma began, voice steady, "Do not trust the man who comes smiling with empty hands." She paused. "But the grammar is twisted. Someone copied it from a metal inscription. Badly." Evelyn's phone fell face down. A soft thud. Robert's eyes narrowed by a quiet millimeter. "Continue." Emma nodded at the napkin. "Also, see this mark? It's not a word. It's a name sigil. Someone used an artifact as paper, and they didn't understand what they were stealing." Michael leaned in. "You can read that?" Emma exhaled. "Enough to hear it." Robert chuckled. "So you have party tricks. Let's play harder." He snapped his fingers gently. John produced another sheet. This one crisp, folded, scented faintly of cedar. "Translate this." Emma took it. Mandarin. Legal phrasing like barbed wire. She skimmed, then slowed, then stopped. Her heartbeat grew loud, a drum behind her ribs. The clauses were rivers doubling back, turning clean water into silt. She swallowed. "Sir," she said, keeping her tone even. "This agreement says they'll supply components at a fixed rate. But here, she tapped the second paragraph. The counterparty adds a priority veto over any subsequent supplier. It's hidden in a subordinate clause. If you sign, they can choke your entire line. Michael sat straighter. Let me see. He reached, but Robert held the page back, studying Emma instead. Translate the rest, Robert said. Quiet now. No smile. Emma nodded. Paragraph 5 allows them to audit your proprietary designs for compatibility. That means access. Paragraph 7 moves arbitration to their city, their court, under a panel-friendly mediation, which means they're friends. In short, she lifted her eyes. You lose. The chandelier's buzz seemed louder. Plates somewhere stopped moving. The city beyond the glass held its breath. Sophia shifted closer. Emma rolled the paper gently. If you sign, you will bleed slowly. You won't feel it tonight, but you will feel it when you're alone in your office, wondering why your supply is late, why your designs leaked, why your margins are ghosts. Michael's whisper was hoarse. She's right. That clause. How did I miss? Robert reached for a glass of water, paused, set it down untouched. Who taught you Mandarin? Emma's gaze slid to the window, rain beginning to tick the glass. A grandmother in the back booth of a library. A dockworker on night shift who missed his son. A line cook who loaned me cassette tapes. She smiled, small. People. Evelyn's eyes softened. How many languages do you speak? Emma shrugged. Enough to know what people mean when they think you don't. A beat. The rain grew steadier, tapping codes on the city. Robert's face became a mask. John. Call our legal. John stood, phone already rising. He looked at Emma, something like respect flickering, then gone. Emma stepped back. Her tray felt light now. The room felt different, like a stage after the curtain drops. She turned to leave. Wait, Robert said. She stopped. You said the napkin was a warning, he murmured. For me, or from me? Emma looked at him, at the man who wore satellites like cufflinks. Maybe from someone you stopped listening to. Robert's phone rang, and the voice on the other end spoke a language only Emma could truly hear. John put the call on speaker. A voice spilled out. Arabic threaded with panic, then polished English, then clipped Cantonese. 3 languages dancing to hide a lie. Emma listened with her whole body. The AC hummed. The rain whispered. She closed her eyes. He says the partner is eager to proceed, she translated. But his Arabic, it slips. He says, we will bring them to their knees without swinging a sword. Then in English, everything is friendly. Then in Cantonese, he laughs about the audit clause. Michael cursed under his breath. Robert's jaw tightened. Name. A name floated through. Emma repeated it. Michael typed, fingers trembling. Sophia touched Emma's elbow. You okay? Emma nodded. I'm fine. She wasn't. Her hands were shaking. She pressed her palms together to stop the tremor. Robert ended the call. He looked at Emma for a long moment. Who are you? Emma swallowed. The question echoed inside. Who are you? I'm the girl who used to fall asleep under a table at the language section because the bus stopped running, she said softly. I'm the waitress who learned how to say, are you okay? In 10 tongues because pain doesn't always speak English. I'm nobody, which is why people talk around me. The rain pressed its forehead harder to the glass. Evelyn slid her chair back, eyes bright. You're not nobody. Emma smiled, a fragile thing. I don't need to be somebody to hear the truth. Robert's gaze drifted past Emma to the city, then back. Something shifted in him, an old door opening on rusty hinges. Will you sit? He asked. Emma glanced at Sophia. The manager nodded once. Emma sat carefully at the edge of power. Michael leaned in. What do we do? Emma breathed. Call off the signature. Redraft with plainer language. Move arbitration to neutral ground. Remove the audit clause or mirror it. Offer a bonus for early delivery. A penalty for delays. And, she hesitated. And, Robert pushed. And put your promise to your workers in writing. Translating isn't just words. It's meaning. If you want clean meaning, be clean too. Silence. Even the kitchen seemed to pause. You're telling a billionaire to be good? John said, almost amused. Emma thought of the dockworker, the line cook, the grandmother. She looked at Robert. I'm telling a man to be heard in every language. Robert's mouth pressed thin. You think I don't care about my workers? Emma held his eyes. I think you stopped listening because power is loud. A flicker. A bruise under the suit. Robert leaned back. He looked suddenly impossibly tired. Fine, he murmured. You'll come upstairs. Help us fix this. Tonight. Emma's breath caught. I have a shift. Sophia stepped in. She's covered, she said, voice steady. I'll do it. Emma stared at her manager. Sophia winked, just a little. Evelyn stood. I'm coming too. They rose together, a strange procession. Billionaire, waitress, CFO, bodyguard, influencer in silk, and a manager with a lion's heart. They walked toward the elevator. Emma's footsteps echoed soft. Sure. As the doors slid shut, Emma saw her reflection. Apron, stray hair, eyes that had traveled far. She tucked a curl behind her ear. Upstairs, behind glass and money, waited a room of wolves, and one letter that would change the shape of Emma's future. The private floor smelled of ink and winter. Conference walls shone with screens, cities mapped in light. Men and women in suits turned as they entered, eyes flicking over Emma with the dismissive speed of people who've never been underestimated the right way. Michael projected the contract. Clauses bled across the wall. The room buzzed. Who is she? Someone asked. The person who saved your company 10 minutes ago, Evelyn said crisply. She slid into a chair as if she owned it. Emma stood. She didn't belong, which is why she did. Robert's voice cut the room. We are not signing. We will redraft. Groans. Protests. A man at the end table smirked. We'll lose face. You'll lose your company if you don't, Emma answered, gentle but firm. Heads turned. She pointed at the clause. Look, see this word? Friendly, paired with inspection. Together they form a trap disguised as a hug. A few eyebrows climbed. Emma switched to Arabic, then to French, repeating the same warning. Words became bridges. She watched people cross. Also, she added, we promise something too, not just to shareholders. She glanced at Robert. To workers. A snort from the corner. We're not a charity. Emma felt heat rise in her cheeks. She remembered grease under fingernails. 3 a.m. bus stops. Mothers with tired eyes. You're not. But language is a mirror. If the contract is clean on their side and dirty on yours, no language can translate that into trust. John folded his arms, amused. She's not wrong. Michael fiddled with a pen. What do you propose? Emma inhaled. Wage guarantees tied to delivery milestones. A small fund for injuries. A hotline translated into, she counted on her fingers, Mandarin, Cantonese, Vietnamese, Urdu, Arabic, Spanish, and English, obviously. She smiled. Murmurs. Some resistant, some curious. Robert was watching only Emma. Do you want something for this? He asked quietly. Emma blinked. Yes. The room stilled. She swallowed. A scholarship. For me. And an internship that pays. Not just for me, create a junior cultural team. People who hear things others don't. Robert's mouth didn't move, but his eyes did. Bold. Emma nodded. You said translate this if you can. I'm translating the future. The smirking man from the end table scoffed. This is ridiculous. Emma switched to Cantonese, soft as rain. She repeated the fund idea, the hotline, the mirrored oversight, adding a note about face-saving language in the preamble. The man's eyes sharpened. He leaned forward, listening now. Pieces shifted. In the glass, the city exhaled. Hours folded. Clauses were cut and stitched. Emma translated every breath of resistance, every sigh of agreement. The room slowly learned to speak one language. Fairness. Near midnight, a letter slid under the door. John picked it up, puzzled. No sender, just a wax seal. A sigil like the crooked mark on Robert's napkin. Emma's chest tightened. Open it. Inside, a single line, in Old Persian. Emma read it, throat thick. A man who won't be taught will be forced to learn. Robert's hand trembled as he took it. He closed his eyes. When he opened them, something was gone. Something else had arrived. Draft the scholarship, he said to Michael. Draft the team. And put my apology on the first page of the new contract. Apology? Michael asked. Robert nodded. To the people in this room, and to those downstairs. He looked at Emma. A small bow. Respect without theatrics. Morning would bring headlines, signatures, and a choice for Emma that could rewrite her life. Dawn watered the city in pale gold. The glass house smelled of coffee and oranges. Downstairs, Sophia handed Emma a mug and tried to look casual. Failed. You changed the world last night, you know? Emma laughed softly. Just some words. Words are worlds, Sophia replied. Drink. Evelyn arrived in sneakers, hair in a messy knot. I posted a thread, she said, breathless. Not about the deal. About you. About listening to people who serve us. It's blowing up. John appeared, surprisingly human in daylight. They're ready upstairs, he said, eyes kinder. If you are. Upstairs. A new contract waited. Clean, legible, mirrored. A press team hummed. Cameras stood like metal flowers. Robert stepped forward. No ash-gray armor now. Just a dark suit and a man learning a new tongue. He faced the microphones. Last night, he said, I asked a waitress to prove herself. She proved me wrong. I am sorry for the arrogance that made me ask. He turned to Emma. This is Emma. She reads what we don't say. Today, she joins us as the first lead of our cultural intelligence team. And we're funding scholarships for language learners who've been told they're nobody. Because nobody hears everything. The room swelled. Flashes like summer lightning. Michael slid a folder to Emma. Scholarship. Salary. Resources. A card with her name and a new title. It glowed on the table. Emma touched the card. It felt unreal, like a word you've never said aloud suddenly living under your tongue. Before I sign, she said softly. A condition. Robert nodded. Name it. Translate this if you can, Emma said, smiling. Respect. Starts downstairs. With schedules that don't break backs. With managers who learn please and thank you in the languages of the people they lead. With a policy that no customer, no matter how expensive, gets to humiliate staff. Quiet fell like snow. Robert's mouth twitched. Deal. They signed. Cameras blinked. Somewhere in the city, someone in a factory heard their language on a hotline and felt less alone. Later, Emma walked out into the morning. The street smelled of rain and bread. A bus hissed, doors yawning. She tucked the letter with the Old Persian line into her pocket and headed toward the library, just to sit where it began. She traced the spines, whispered greetings to languages like old friends. Evelyn texted, trending, #translate kindness. Sophia sent a picture, the staff reading a new poster with policies in 7 scripts. John, coffee? You earned it. Michael, budget approved. Emma stepped outside again, sun on her face. She lifted her head. Have you ever been underestimated? Did it make you smaller or sharper? Did it make you cruel or kind? She smiled at the city. Translate this if you can, she whispered. Hope. A silent moment. Footsteps. The day begins. Thought-provoking question for viewers. When someone underestimates you, do you prove them wrong by matching their energy or by changing the language of the room entirely? Share a moment when you turned disrespect into clarity or kindness into power.